every month here on the channel, we look at all the ships, the progress that's going on, and we tabulate it together to see what the heck is happening. So, to start off, in the UK, work continued to bring the RSI Aurora and Aegis Hammerhead up to modern standard. The Aurora progressed through Lot 0 and final stages as improvements were made to the component bays, bed access, dashboard placement, entrance method, VTOL setup, and cargo access on the underside. I know that the Aurora is supposed to have VTOL. Nice to see it confirmed again here. This is a really important update. The Aurora is the quintessential Star Citizen ship. It's the most common in the verse, and it's a little sardine can, but it's our sardine can. This is what a lot of players are going to start out with, even if there are other starter ships coming in. I hope that they're not bringing this in at a higher price point now that they've redone it. They took it off the store. Maybe they will do that. We'll see. Inflation, you know. This is a good one because the starter ships definitely need to be gold standard regularly. I think every couple of years at the minimum. Definitely when they're bringing in different features like engineering. Glad to see that they've done it with the Aurora. We're going to go ahead and update that here. So it's a rework gold pass. Dev phase is in concept, but to be honest, they just bumped it all the way to Lot 0. And I'm going to go ahead and say that that is a expected release of October of 2025. Super high confidence in that one. The Hammerhead also is getting some updated work. For the Hammerhead, focus was on implementing the improvements made to the base corridor kit from the recent Idris release. Interesting. Alongside making sure the component bays and relays are suitably placed and accessible. Hammerhead is an interesting story because if you go back in CIG's history, the very first ship they ever showed off, a lot of the stuff that they first showed off when it came to engineering was actually on the Hammerhead.
From the power plant to the battery, from the battery to the lights, everything travels through these relays. Now each relay you have on your ship is going to consume.
Interestingly enough, even if you go forward again to the next showcase of this same technology, the very next year in CitizenCon, again, it was the Hammerhead. I also think the Hammerhead has one of the best looking interiors when the lights are off. I'm glad that they're finalizing the corridors. I hope they don't change it too much. But yeah, you can see the Hammerhead has been a very regular... The Hammerhead has been a very regular use for advertising engineering and just overall testing these systems on larger ships. So I'm not surprised that it's getting a gold pass. I'm really glad that it is. Hopefully they also take a look at how it's balanced. Make sure it works better. That is probably not coming at the same time as the Aurora, but it is being worked on. So we'll call that in progress. And I think we'll just stick to in progress since they didn't give us a very clear idea of what's changed. Improvements made to the base corridor kit is what we're going to put as the update for this month. Expected release, dude, I could see this being a Q4 2025. It's like just a gold pass and it's pretty far along. They seem focused on it. The Paladin progressed into the Lot 0 phase. Hello. With final adjustments being made to the main quad turret to ensure its movement is unhindered in both flight and landed states, the downstream teams kicked off their work on the ship too. You know what, folks? That actually recalibrates my thoughts on this. So it entered Lot 0 in August. It's progressing through Lot 0 in September. It's making progress. But I do think I am going to maintain that as an IAE release. I don't think it's going to be ready this month. If the downstream teams are only just getting focused on it, then this is really looking like an IAE release in November. I'm going to put that as very high confidence and say progressing through Lot 0 in September. I like the Anvil Paladin. I'm excited for that ship. If you haven't seen this one, I don't think they have an actual video for it anywhere. So I'll just have to show you some pictures. But this thing is going to absolutely take the wind out of the Redeemer's sails, and that ship will have to have its own specialty, its own reason for releasing. Because this thing is taking that multi-purpose gunship vibe for sure. It's got big turrets on it. It's got space for 3 to do some massive damage. And it's got some space to support a little bit more habitation and stuff like that. So pretty solid ship choice, I would say. All right, Next up, the MISC Hull B is now well into the white box phase. The majority of the interior was implemented to the required level, while adjustments are currently being made to the exterior mesh to keep the gate requirements. The MISC Hull B in the white box is just not something I expected to be saying this year. This is a weird one. All right, it is past pre-production and into the white box phase. The majority of the interior was implemented, while adjustments are currently being made to the exterior. That's going to be our update. I could see this coming Q1 of next year. Maybe. Definitely before summer of 2026. I'm going to change this to spring of 2026 and keep it at medium confidence, because that's not bad. White box on the Hull B. The Hull B is not a huge ship. It is a weird ship, and I'm interested in seeing how it works out. But this might be the ship that they've been talking about in terms of like getting the cargo situation figured out. No, actually, that was an unannounced ship. That would be different from this. But the Hull B is like a Hull A, just a little bigger. 384 SCU of cargo, so it's got a lot of potential as being a medium-sized cargo hauler. It can still land on planets, so you're not limited like you are in the Hull C, but it can carry more like the Hull A. That being said, it does carry its cargo on the exterior, so you're in more danger of getting robbed and people knowing what it is you're carrying instead of it being defended on the interior of your ship. Moving on, following last month's work, the Drake Ironclad and Ironclad Assault, plus the updated command module, are approaching their combined white box gate review. So we are still in the white box phase with the Ironclad. This thing is a slow mover, but things do tend to speed up once you've reached the gray box. White box has a lot of the work gets done in white box. White box review in September. So that's 2 months in a row now that we have had it reported that this ship is approaching its white box review. That could mean they've just slowed down on the ship. It's not a high priority. It could also mean that there was some difficulty there that they're not telling us about, but it does again point towards this ship just not being anywhere close to being complete, and most likely coming Invictus week of 2026, I still think. 4 unannounced vehicles also continued development through September. Wonderful. God, I hate that. The first is approaching its Lot 0 review, while the second progressed through the Lot 0 gate and is now in its final stage. All right. So do we have an unannounced ship that was in Lot 0? Let's see. Gray box, white box, gray box, gray box. So I don't even have an unannounced ship from before that was in Lot 0, guys. Oh my god. How does one do this? I'm so lost. Let's see. The first is approaching its Lot 0 review. We're just gonna pick one of these. We got more than one unannounced ship here, and they're saying there's 4, so we're already in trouble. Let's look at white box review in early April, component work in August, progress to gray box in June. This one could very well be approaching its Lot 0. Unannounced ship, possible wolf. This one was approaching its final gray box review in August, so that could also be approaching Lot 0, of course. This one had the cargo mechanism issues and entered gray box in July. So this also could be approaching Lot 0, and we know this is a distinct unannounced ship. We have 3 freaking unannounced ships here that all could be the Wolf. This is so ridiculous. Doing the unannounced ship section of this is so stressful and terrible. This one entered gray box in August. Very well might just not even be ready for Lot 0. This one kicked off and regressed through white box in July. I don't even know if we've had an update on that one recently. And this one passed white box review in May with attention to specific mechanics. Dude, I don't know. I'm screwed. I'm just gonna pick something and go with it. This one was approaching its final gray box review in August. I'm just gonna say progressing through Lot 0. We're just gonna throw this one completely for a spin, for a loop. It's going to be this one that is now in its final stage. So I feel like a liar. We're gonna take away the possible wolf on here. We're gonna say that this one was the possible wolf and just get rid of it. We already have the wolf down here, so I'm just gonna delete this one then. Honestly, I'm gonna say up the release for this one. Let's keep it at IAE. The other one here is our final stage ship. Now this ship, folks, is Final stages, unannounced. It's not the one with the cargo. It could be. But we kind of already have an expectation as to what is getting pretty close to its final stage, and that would be the Stinger. So let's go ahead and just pick a random unannounced ship here and say moved to final stage in September, and change this little thing to possible Stinger. Heavy fighter, possibly, maybe. We're gonna call this final art that it's in, and expected release, CitizenCon, honestly. If it's already at its, I'll put it at medium confidence just because we don't really know for sure, but it's already at its final stage. It's very well that they might rush it through and get it released by CitizenCon. We'll see. Continuing on, the third of these unannounced ships that I'm just randomly picking. A variant of a popular recent release, is receiving Greybox and Lot Zero work in tandem due to the nature of the changes. Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's our Wolf variant, right? Receiving Greybox and Lot Zero in tandem. I know this isn't the correct ship, but we're gonna do it anyways. Lot Zero in tandem. This is so wrong. Like the unannounced ships, I am very, very wrong on at this point. We're gonna ask if this is a Wolf variant, and if it might be possibly releasing sometime in the next couple of weeks. I have no idea when it would be releasing, but it's definitely October. Maybe it's one that's also coming at CitizenCon. I don't know. Maybe they're releasing 3 ships at CitizenCon. That'd be hefty. All right, the fourth unannounced ship is Greybox review in early September with the LOD work due early in October. Some of the downstream teams began their tasks too. I'm gonna say this is the one that had the cargo problems that we read about here. So we're gonna update this and say LOD work due early in October. Some of the downstream teams began their tasks too. So Greybox review, yeah, passed its Greybox review early in September. So we'll move this one up to Lot Zero, and I guess that's probably coming CitizenCon as well. This is a lot of ships, guys, that are all reaching Lot Zero at the same time. Like a lot of ships. They are running out of places to launch all these ships. Let me see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 ships at Lot Zero. Another ship at Final Art. And the RSI rework definitely coming out soon. So that's six ships that are no doubt going to be released between now and December. And that's not including the Perseus, which we know will be coming out at IAE. What the fuck, dude? It's like 3 months left. And they've got basically 7 ships to release before the end of the year. That is ridiculous. The Apollo got released, so we can actually move this down. The North American teams began the month finalizing fixes for the RSI Apollo ships ahead of their release. Various optimizations were also made following player use in the PTU. We got that down. Lot Zero for the RSI Perseus was also passed early on in the month, with the team moving on to the final touches and downstream teams beginning to close out the ship. So there's to just give you another reminder of the sort of language they're using when the ship is almost ready to release. We know for a fact that this ship's coming at IAE. So now we can judge where is a ship usually a month and a half before it's releasing, and that's what we're hearing here in the September update for the RSI Perseus. Past Lot Zero in September. Downstream teams at work. Confidence is super high on that release. It's coming at IAE, and most recent update is October 1st. Very nice. Good for you, Perseus. Y'all know the Perseus. I'll give you a little looky look at it if you don't remember it, but I do have a video here that I released on it just last month that's talking about, honestly, why it's such a cool ship and people are so excited for it, but why possibly the game might not have content to back it up, but we'll have to see. This is it, though.
So originally the brief for the ship was a real skeleton crew of 4 men. So you had the pilot, the captain, and the 2.
And that's the biggest deal about it, is it looks like a huge ship, but you can actually crew it pretty effectively with just 4 or 5 people.
Such a relatively large ship. So the crew size for the ship is 6 man. That gives you a pilot, captain, 2 manned turret guns because the S7 twin turrets are manned, and then it leaves you with these 2 extra roles that are really flexible in terms of what you want them to do.
So we wanted to layer in all the functionality that John wanted, but also make it easy to navigate. It should be clear for the player at any point what part of the ship they're in, and it's split over 3 decks.
Space
So
for a
the lower deck is your
vehicle,
cargo,
combat
and
readiness,
access to the
low crew
turret.
count, pretty
And then you go up,
intimidating,
and then
solid
that sort
shields,
of
and it's
main
really not
deck,
that big.
that
It's like
goes
just
from
around the same
front to
size as the
back.
Hammerhead.
You
I do think this will be a
each
fairly common ship for groups of
front
4 or
turret
5 to go
will
out
be
and run missions
right
together, because you've
back
got
into
plenty
the
of space for loot and
the
storing your
captain's room.
FPS stuff,
there's
and then
sort of
also
separate
a ground
lifts
vehicle,
for easy
obviously.
navigation, basically. And then the top floor is bridge, escape pods, and engineering section. So for a player, it should all be quite straightforward.
I think this ship really will add something to the fleet gameplay that is
The
growing within Star Citizen.
the Lot Zero
We've
phase
already
is
seen
is
aspects of that with
around
the
final art.
Invictus
It's
launch
before they
week.
get in all like the
You've
damage
seen the
passes and
capital
stuff like
ships in
that, so
game.
not quite
There's obviously
flight
the
ready.
Hammerhead in game already. When this is in game, you'll also have much more of a rounded fleet to play with that will provide a great threat and deterrence to other players.
The RSI
So, yeah.
Perseus.
Cool ship. This is 2020, so it's been something that's hyped up for quite a while. It was revealed basically for IAE of 2020, so this is a relatively new but not that new concept, and at the time it was released, people looked at it and said, okay, but when are we getting that? Most people probably would have guessed like this far away. A lot of people may have guessed just in the next few years, but 2020 to 2023 was around the time when there was a lot more anxiety growing about the fact that there were so many ships in the backlog that needed to get taken care of. And I think in the last 2 years, they've done a good job of hitting back at that. There's still plenty that needs to be done. But the main worry now is keeping ships updated as opposed to getting rid of the concepts. So it is a really anticipated ship for that reason. But we will see just how good it is when it comes out. Stick around here because you know we're going to be doing a lot with it. Holy crap. I got to jump in with GII in that ship. All right. The big announcement for the ship section this month. The white box phase officially kicked off for the Drake Kraken in the latter half of the year month. Dang it. Last month's pre-production phase led to numerous improvements and adjustments to navigation, flow, and interactions throughout the ship. That's a big one, guys. The Kraken is one of the biggest ships in the whole game. This is a big ship in terms of what it promises, in terms of its size. It's a capital class ship. It's 270 meters long in concept. It will grow. Don't get that mistake. It's 104 meters wide, 64 meters tall. Crew of 10. Crew of 10 suggested. This is the kind of ship that is used as a pirate base, as a space station. Literally, check this out. If we go back to building a dynamic universe Star Citizen, this is where they used to talk about, they tried to tell us about the economy they wanted to build and how it's supposed to work. If you look at the pirate
5%.
base,
And let's head back and check out the prices again.
when the pirates were using a ship as their home base,
And there you can see
check out what
it.
ship they were using.
Let's speed it up a little bit, not 200. It's 200 too fast. It's difficult to tell what's going on.
There we are. They love advertising with this ship. They love the marketing. If you were watching CitizenCon last year, then you know that all too well. You can even just listen to the reaction of people when they see that ship. From that one that we just saw to literally the most watched part in this video, right? You can see the most replayed section is right here. And what is it? Why is it the most replayed section? Because people are obsessed with the Kraken. So that's what this is. Just to get you up to speed with just how excited people will be for this. So it's a big deal that is coming in. This ship comes with 5 manned turrets, 4 remote turrets, 2 multi-purpose hangars, 6 landing pads for various ship sizes, a storage bay for Dragonfly hovercrafts, a medical facility to heal and respawn, and escape pods to, well, escape. It's It's a crazy ship, and there's a lot that's going to have to come from it. The reason it is just now starting is because the actual Ironclad, as we've been covering throughout these patches and is in white box right now,
Ironclad assault
actually creates a lot more support for the Kraken. So just like with the RSI line of ships, they made the Polaris, which helps them make the Perseus, which helps make the Galaxy. Making the Ironclad is helping them make the Kraken, probably also helping them update the Caterpillar. And I don't know, maybe getting another mid-size ship in there. But the Ironclad is a big reason why the Kraken is finally starting to be worked on. So next year might be the year of Drake. Will we get the Ironclad and the Kraken both in the same year? What do you guys think? I don't think that's guaranteed. I used to think that the Kraken would come in Q4 2026, but the Ironclad has been in white box and just in general being worked on for like 4 months now, and it's still in white box. If the Kraken's just now hitting white box, is it going to be in white box still in 6 months? We'll keep it at 2026. I'm going to keep it at medium confidence that we will see it, because I'm just not really sure about it. But the most recent update was October 1st. Entered white box in September. Yeah, you guys think 2027? Ironclad next year, Kraken 2027. I think that's possibly a safer bet. We will return to this next month and make a call. All right, finally, 2 unannounced vehicles progressed to. One moved through the gray box while the other entered white box. These are vehicles, not ships, but sometimes vehicles do mean ships in the monthly reports. It's actually quite annoying. I don't know what they want from me, man. I'm just going to put 2 unannounced vehicles here. I'm not that interested in vehicles, to be honest. First mention, October 2025. Suspected release, Q4. Q1 2026, we'll say. So that's 6. Yeah, that's 6 unannounced right now. We've also got, let's see, let's categorize by last update real quick. So here are all the ships that we just got updated on today. Looks like it's about 10. The Aurora, the Hammerhead, the Hull B, unannounced ship 1, unannounced ship 2, Anvil Paladin, unannounced ship 3, unannounced ship 4, Perseus, Ironclad, Kraken, and then 2 more unannounced vehicles. That's 13 at the moment. They are currently actively working on. Now, there are other things that have happened. Obviously, they did some work on the Apollo. Actually, guess we could put that as the last update we got. So 14 they worked on last month with a couple other things going on. One of these Drake or CNOU mystery ships might be one of these unannounced ships, but we won't know until they're released. But yeah, that's what's going on right now, folks. 13 new things being worked on, 6 unannounced, and 3 of them being some of the most anticipated vehicles in this game's history. They are firing off. I gotta say, we're not getting as much feature development right now these days, but overall the development does seem to be pretty healthy for them. So that is it. Hope you got your ship updates. Hope you got your monthly report updates. Hope you're feeling better about it all.